After centuries of flowing strong, the once mighty Euphrates River has finally dried up, leaving behind a barren wasteland. But out of the ashes, something unexpected has emerged. A discovery that could change everything that we thought we knew about this ancient river. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Unexplained History. In today's video, we will show you a scary discovery in the Euphrates and the new life that has emerged in its wake. So make sure to watch until the end. Let's get into the video. Global warming and changes in the climate are to blame. All over the world, seasons are coming and going at strange times. Temperatures have gone up in most places, and they have gone up a lot in some places. The temperature rise was worst in Iraq and the countries around it. The temperature rise has led to a never-ending drought in the country, which has hurt the lives of people who depended on the main sources of water. All over the country, there are shortages because of climate change. Due to the drought that has been going on for the last few years, the river has started to go down, revealing many historical artifacts. On the bright side, the drought has made it possible to find many ancient sites that had been buried underwater for a long time. Even though the locals knew about these places, they didn't go out of their way to check them out. When archaeologists learned about these sites, it opened up a whole new world of possibilities for them. They didn't know where they came from, and everything else about them was also a mystery. Even though the drought helped archaeologists, it could have been better for people who lived near water. One of these places is Anbar, which has been thought to be empty for many years and has been the site of many archaeological finds. When the water level went down, the historical items came back to the surface. This area was not thought to be important in the past, but now it is one of the most important historical sites in Iraq. Some of the sites in Iraq and Syria have already been dug up. These towns were built between 3000 BC and the time of the Romans. Archaeologists can now go back to these sites because the water has gone down and made them visible again. Even though the water has hurt these places, they may still be important and useful. This makes it difficult for them to get their work done. This was a surprise find, and the site could be full of jewelry, coins, and other important things. Professional thieves look for this kind of thing. By selling archaeological artifacts, they can make a lot of money. Keeping people from stealing from the site is another problem. Most of the people who worked on the Euphrates lost their jobs because of the drought. They are desperate to get their lives back, so they go to the archaeological site and take things without knowing how much they are worth. Important information about the settlement and other things has been lost because of this. Because of the drought, the Bronze Age city is back. Since the city was underwater for a long time, there were no archaeological digs there. From 1550 BC to 1350 BC, the Mitanni Empire was in charge. This well-known archaeological site has a palace and many important buildings. Archaeologists have to dig up the site because the city popped up out of nowhere. Because this city is so big, only parts of it are mined at a time. If the materials are exposed to water for a long time, they may slowly break down and lose important information about the site. Researchers were able to make a map of the whole city in a short amount of time. The rescue excavation was also put together quickly. The mapping helped them to find the most important parts of the city, which let them collect data and write things down. The mapping found many important buildings. In addition to the palace, there were towers, monuments, storage buildings, buildings with 2 stories, and factories. All of these landforms were also surrounded by a well-built fortified wall. The northern part of Mesopotamia was run by the Empire of Mitanni. Archaeologists think that goods from all over the area were stored in the city's storage buildings. The most surprising thing to the researchers was how well the walls and pipes were kept. These walls are about 3,500 years old and were made of mud and sun-dried mud bricks. They'd been underwater for decades, but they're still standing. Even though they are made of a very fragile material, that doesn't matter. Even after all this time, the clay pots are still in the same place. Everything is still in the same spot because of the earthquake. The earthquake made the top part fall apart, covering the walls and containers that held them in place. There were also tablets with writing on them. 5 ceramic plates kept them safe. People think that the pills have letters and words on them. This could be a big find that tells us a lot about how people lived back then. The site is where the old city of Zakiku used to be. Zakiku is one of the states in northern Mesopotamia and a major city in the Mitanni Empire. The Egyptians and the Mittens fought over who would control Syria until they made a peace deal. The Mittens were taken over by the Hittite Empire, and then the Assyrians took over from them. People are taking steps to keep the site safe from rising water. Archaeologists still don't know when the water level will rise. The palace found on the site had the most important information. On the east bank of the river in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, the court was set up by the people who lived there. It is hoped that the remains will tell us more about the Mitanni Empire's politics, economy, and history. People are saying that this is the most interesting and important archaeological find ever. The palace may have been 65 feet from the river and had a different shape that looked out over the valley. What was left of the court showed that it was well defined and stood out on its own. The walls and floors of the palace were made of slabs, which shows that the Mitanni Empire was ahead of its time. There were also red and blue wall paintings, which show that murals and paintings were common at the time. Researchers concluded that the important and unique buildings were painted to show who was in charge at the time. Scientists are worried about the Euphrates River, which used to be the biggest river in West Asia, but is now drying up quickly. The level of the water has been going down for years. So we hope you liked today's video. Let us know what you thought about European of the Euphrates in the comments, and check out other videos on our channel to see more content like this. We'll be back soon with another exciting video.